Scuba diving. I'm Steve Amber and I'm Barbara Klein with Exploration in VOA Special English. Today, we explore the clear blue waters around the island of the Bahamas to learn about the exciting sport of scuba diving. The word scuba stands for self-contained underwater breathing apparatus. Knowing how to dive opens up an entire underwater world of coral, fish, and other critters. Join us as we learn the basics of diving, talk to an expert, and say hello to a shark. Imagine swimming in clear blue waters as you look at small, brightly colored fish and the striking shapes of coral organisms. The underwater world is quite except for the sound of your breathing. When you breathe out, you see many shining air bubbles floating upwards towards the surface of the water. Since humans are not designed to see and breathe underwater, scuba diving requires several pieces of important equipment. Scuba divers must wear a mask in order to be able to see underwater. The mask creates an airspace that protects the eyes and nose. Scuba divers breathe with the help of a regulator, which brings air the mouth when they inhale. The regulator is attached to an air tank that is placed on the diver back. There is an extra regulator called an octopus, which is used in case of emergency situation. Divers also wear a BCD or buoyancy control device to control how much they float or sink. A pressure gauge device tells divers how much air is left in the air tank, or a dive computer can calculate how much air is left as well as a diver's depth and the length of time he or she can stay underwater. Divers wear scuba fins on their feet to help them move easily and quickly through the water. Many divers also wear a wetsuit in order to stay warm underwater. To learn how to use all of this equipment, it helps to go to dive school. Becoming a certified diver requires taking 3 series of lessons. Now, new divers must learn about the physics and safety of diving, and they must practice diving skill first in closed water area and then on actual beginner dives. Several organizations offer official diving certification. Scuba diving for fun first became possible with the development of the aqualung by Jacques Cousteau and Emile Gagnan in the early 1940s. In the United States, articles in popular magazines about Cousteau and his underwater exploration methods helped bring attention to scuba diving. Because of the cost, the equipment, diving did not become a widely available sport until years later. Taking diving class and becoming certified are important for knowing how to dive safely. For example, you need to know how to put a regulator back in your mouth if it falls out underwater, and you need to know how to clear your mask if it fills with water. There are many other safety issues to consider when diving. For example, when going down deeper in the water, a diver must be careful to equalize the pressure in his or her ears. This is done by holding the nose and blowing very gently. Otherwise, the extreme pressure for the surrounding water and cause damage to the middle ear and sinus. Decompression sickness is a major concern for divers. The deeper a diver goes, the more pressure the surrounding water puts on the volume of the air inside his or her lungs, and the deeper a dive, the more nitrogen gas goes into the diver's blood. For safety reasons, a diver must measure the length of his or her dive based on its depth so as not to exceed a safe amount of nitrogen absorption. When divers rise to return the water's surface, they must continue to breathe and rise now faster than the air bubbles around them. For very deep dives, they must stop and decompress at certain levels. This way, the highly pressure air in the diver's lungs has time to leave the body before it expands. If a diver rises off the surface too quickly, he or she can become extremely ill with decompression sickness, also known as the bends. Other important aspect to diving is having a buddy system. By having a diving partner, you can watch over one another and help each other if there is an accident. One important diving rule is the never touch any of the sea life. This rule is both to protect the diver and to protect the underwater environment. For example, there is a reason fire coral received its name. This is very exciting and a little bit string diving among the sharks. You feel a tug, you should be afraid. Even though the sharks are not aggressive at all, the sharks just swim around watching what is going around them. At the reef, there were also many large nasal grouper and yellowfin grouper fish. If you float above the large coral formation, you can examine the smaller critters swimming in the reef. The bright yellow and purple fish called the fairy bass look like small swimming jewels. Many kinds of fish swim in out of the brain coral, acorn, coral and sea fans which wave gently with the current. Back on the boat, we asked Tito Baldwin more about the safety of diving with sharks. When you get in the water with sharks, people are automatically scared because they've seen jaws. They've seen all these crazy moves, but sharks are just like every other animal in the water. They are protective of human beings. We were 2 feet away from 5-foot sharks and they were just kind of circling around us like everything else in the water. The groups were close to us. The sharks were close to us. The yellowtail were close to us. They're kind of serious and they are more afraid of us than we are of them. There are many other beautiful places around the world to dive. Scuba Diving magazine recently lists several of must-see diving sites. These include Bonaire, one of the Netherlands' Atlantis island off the coast of Venezuela. Here, divers can explore many reefs within a protected marine park. Divers can even explore the sea creatures of live in around the ship. Hilma Hooker. This 70-meter-long cork ship sank over 20 years ago off the coast of Baja California in Mexico. Divers can see large sea creatures like sharks, giant manta rays, and dolphins. Scuba Diving magazine also recommends the Fiji Island in the South Pacific Ocean. Many divers go here to see gray reef sharks or hammerhead sharks. In Australia, divers can explore many interesting areas, including the Great Barrier Reef. It is the largest coral reef system in the world, measuring of over 2,000 kilometers inland. The extraordinary natural formation over many exciting deep possible. Also in Australia, the cold diving area of the Reborn Reefs is famous for its large potato codfish, and at the Lake Hosbomie site, divers and swim with minke whales. Of coral cause a painful burning feeling if touched. A diver could also be cut by touching a sharp piece of coral. Coral may seem hard like stone, but is actually a very fragile organism. It can be damaged if divers touch or stand on it. In order to protect the beautiful coral field system, divers must treat them with care. I think everyone takes a different experience away from diving. I think what they love about diving could be the color of the ocean, could be the peacefulness, it could be a gamut of things, everyone different. Baldwin, a rescue diver from the Bahamas who has been diving for almost 30 years. He has done everything from diving to explore underwater shipwrecks to dive 80-meter deeps. It might not surprise you to know Tito Baldwin's favorite place in the world to dive. Anywhere in the Bahamas, because the Bahamas is probably the most beautiful water, the farthest south you get away from civilization. Past Gertown down to the Palana Cays, Hoxty, Little Inagua where it's untouched by humans. It's just vibrant, live, colorful fish everywhere. You get some pretty good extreme diving. You've got ghost walls, you've got good tunnels and caverns. There wrecks everything you could possibly imagine. We went on a shark dive with Tito Baldwin in an area of the Bahamas called the Exumas. The dive site, known as Danger Reef, is just south of Indigo Island. The water there was very rough, but once you flip backwards off the boat and enter the water, you enter a calm and colorful world. The main purpose of this dive was to see the many Caribbean reef sharks that gather in this area. These sharks have a round and short snout and big round eyes. They eat mainly bony fish. A full-grown female Caribbean reef shark measures about 2-3 meters, while a grown male measures 1.5 meters or more in length.